turning into the Literacy Volunteers of Harrison County YouTube channel. We would like to show you our next video lesson on anatomy and physiology. This is lesson number 6 of mine. It's on the urinary system. So today we're going to look at the function of the urinary system, and that is to filter your blood, and it creates urine as a waste byproduct. Urine is a waste byproduct. Our body will take in nutrients from food and convert them into energy. We talked about that in our last lesson on the digestive system. The same thing as in your urinary system. And then after the body takes in that food and it gets everything and extracts what it needs, the components from that, we only have waste products that are left over, right? And those were excreted in the digestive system, and they are excreted in the urinary system, but what we do is it filters through the blood and then it comes out as urine, or urea. Urea is what we're going to look at today. That's the compound in urine, and it's produced when foods containing proteins, if you eat things like meat or poultry, and then certain vegetables have proteins in them, and those are broken down in your body into things called amino acids. Amino acids are the components, the building blocks of proteins, and what your kidneys do is they filter all that through, and then they produce urea, and it's carried through your bloodstream after you eat into the kidneys, and once it gets to the kidneys, it's going to be removed along with some water and other wastes, and that's what urine is. There are some 3 important functions of the kidneys, and we want to look at those. The first one is to regulate blood pressure, and it does this by releasing hormones. And we can talk about hormones in a later video, but all hormones act in your body to get certain things to happen. We have different kinds of feedback, and we're going to look at a negative feedback loop the second part of today's lesson. It also produces what's called erythropoietin. That's a long word. Anytime you see urethra like that, that means red, okay? So this is what controls red blood cell productions, and red blood cells are produced in your bone marrow. We looked at bones, inside of long bones like your femur, there's marrow on the inside, and that's where red blood cells are produced, and I just abbreviated RBC. But red blood cells are also called erythrocytes, right? White blood cells are leukocytes, white, so that will let you know what that is. And it regulates our acid and base balance to conserve fluids. In some instances, you may not want urine produced, so your body's going to try to conserve those fluids to help you function. And then we're going to look at the parts of the kidney and the urinary system. I wanted to let you know that the functioning unit is called a nephron. Like the functioning unit in your body are cells, and we're going to look at a nerve, and those are in the nervous system. But in this kind, it's called a nephron. And we could talk for hours about a nephron, and I can tell you all the parts of it, and it really isn't going to get you anywhere. If you would like that, leave it in the comments, and I can make a lesson for that. But it's called a nephron. We have 2 kidneys, and I put the picture up there. They are bean-shaped, and they are located below the ribs towards the middle of your back. The fancy term for that is a retroperitoneal location. That just means in your back. One of them's a little slightly higher than the other one. The left kidney, as it appears in your body, is slightly higher than the right kidney. The ureters are these 2 long tubes that come from each kidney. Right here, you have 2 of those. That's why I put 2, and they're narrow, and the function of those is to carry our urine that's formed in the kidney down to our bladder. So those are going to carry the urine in your kidney to your bladder, and we have some muscles in the walls that squeeze that urine to make it travel down there. And every 10 to 15 seconds, small amounts of urine are emptied into your bladder via the ureters. Via means by the way of. And then we have one bladder. It's triangular shaped down here in the bottom. Okay, and it's hollow. That's where the urine is stored. So it's hollow, and it's in the lower abdomen, and there are ligaments that attach to it and attach to your pelvic bones, we talked about before, and hold it in place. So that's how your bladder is held in place. The walls will relax and expand to store urine, and then they'll flatten and empty to force the urine from the bladder through the urethra, and that's how it's expelled from the body. And this tells us that a typical bladder can hold 2 to 3 cups of urine for about 2 to 5 hours. And then again, last week we talked about the sphincter muscles in the digestive system. We also have those in the bladder. And they're circular, and what they do is they kind of contract like rubber bands around the bladder to prevent the urine from coming out when we don't want it to come out. We have nerves in our bladder, and that's what, when you feel the urge to urinate, that sends signals to your brain to let you know that it's time to do that. So they will alert a person to that fact. There are 2 urinate it means to empty the bladder. And there's also a fancy word. It's called micturate or mictutrition. That just means the same thing, urinate. We have a urethra, that's here, posterior to the bladder. And that allows the urine to pass out of the body. Once we want to eliminate the waste, so that's the way that it comes out of the body. And it's different in females and males. In females, it's only 3 to 4 centimeters long. It's very short. And in males, it's about 20 centimeters or 7 to 8 inches. The reason for that is females have a separate reproductive system and urinary system, right? So we know that we only need a small urethra. Whereas males, their reproductive system and their urinary system run together. So not only does the urethra and males export urine, but it also exports semen. So because those are together. And it runs through the prostate gland, and you have problems with that as you age and it swells, or if you have something wrong and you have problems, males have problems urinating. The brain will signal the bladder muscles to tighten, which squeezes the urine out of the bladder, and at the same time it will also tell those sphincter muscles to relax and let the urine out of the bladder through the urethra. There's just some facts here about urine, because sometimes when you're sick, they want you to keep track of the color of your urine. If it's normal and it's healthy, it's like a pale straw to transparent yellow color. If you take in a little bit more water, it could be dark yellow or honey colored. Even darker than that toward the brown could indicate a problem with your liver or severe dehydration. And you better make sure that you're drinking lots of water, because if you don't, other things could happen to your body. And then if you have pinkish or red urine, it may indicate that there's a small amount or a large amount of blood in your urine, and you should see a doctor. A lot of times when you're younger, they'll test your urine for protein. What happens back here when we were talking about protein breaking down to amino acids, it denatures. And we talked a little bit about that last week. And so it will come out in your urine, and that's bad. We don't want that to happen either. So to keep it healthy, you want to drink plenty of water and electrolytes to keep your urine, the color that it's supposed to be, and to remain healthy. I didn't mention this before because we're going to look at this in the next video, but if you look at our kidneys here, at the top of each kidney, we have 2 little glands. Those are called your adrenal glands. Adrenal. We're going to look at adrenaline in a minute. But ad means on top of. Renal means kidney. So they're located on top of each kidney. And we're going to look at that, and I'll explain to you a little bit about what adrenaline is. But we would like to thank you for watching this video. If you could please give it a thumbs up and share and subscribe to our channel, we would appreciate it. Have a good day.